What is up, Nuggets? It's your boy, Killer Pizza here, with a brand new video for all you rascals and rapscallions out there. Now today, we have something very special, because we're in a disagreement, me and the horror world. And that disagreement is that I prefer Tom Savini's remake of Night of the Living Dead from 1990 over the original. I've gotten so much shit over this over all the years. Don't get me wrong, I respect the original Night of the Living Dead, but this is probably the best rehabilitation of a movie that's been done, maybe besides The Thing or Scarface. This movie is killer. No pun intended, but I will explain to you guys. Let's let the movie start, where it is Bill Moseley and his sister, who plays Barb in the movie. And I can't help but add little sidebars from the start, because Bill Moseley has this one quote in the very beginning during the credits where they're driving 200 miles to see their mother in the grave. And he says, I know one thing she wouldn't do is drive 200 miles to do anything. She wants to drive me away from the furthest beer. Classic Bill Moseley. I love the guy. So he's antagonizing Barb. They get into the cemetery. A creepy guy walks by with a wound on his head. Then Bill Moseley kind of stops fucking around with his sister. Hey man, are you okay? And then the real zombie jumps out. So this may be one of the earliest examples of an actual jump scare. I mean, I'm sure they've happened before, but compared to today, this was a pretty good jump scare. Anyways, Barb is fighting off the zombie. Her brother, Bill Moseley, I want to say Johnny is the name. He starts trying to fight off the zombie. They both fall down with Bill Moseley's neck breaking on a tombstone. And I have to include this, that me and my sister used to rent this VHS all the time as kids. And we're fucked up little kids. We used to always laugh our asses off when he got his neck broken on the tombstone. What's wrong with me? You tell me in the comments below, alright? But anyways, the movie keeps going, and Barb is getting attacked by these zombies. She goes to jump in her car. One zombie actually picks up a brick and smashes it through the window to try to get to her. So it's always kind of interesting to me, what zombies can or cannot do, because I'm a firm believer they shouldn't really have human traits in a way, but Dawn of the Dead kind of adds another angle to that, where they should muscle memory, that's what they're saying about these zombies. Anyways, Barb hits the release brake, falls back, the car rolls backward, hits a fucking tree, but gives her enough distance to run to get some more help. She runs to this big old barn house that The Walking Dead copied in maybe season 3 or 4. Anyways, she runs in there, finds a bunch of blood and gore, this big old zombie who falls over the railing on her and all this, and another one cutting her off from the side door. She walks outside to get away, and this is where the most badass character is introduced. This is Tony Todd. You know him from Candyman, lots of other roles, but in my opinion, this is the most badass version of Tony Todd. He just runs straight through this zombie, gets out with the crowbar in hand, and starts trying to find out information with this girl Barb. So he's asking her the basic questions you would expect, if there was a zombie invasion, are there any guns in the house? Is this your house? Blah, blah, blah. So as he brings her into the house, she's panicking that there's these other zombies in there. Tony Todd takes care of one, and this is the first glimpse of Barb standing up for herself, where she takes out this big old zombie in overalls with the fire poker from a fireplace. And I must add, this is a really cool thing about the remake, that Barb isn't played as just a screaming girl who's scared of everything. Barb is turns into the main character. She's fucking badass. Awesome. But anyways, Tony Todd walks out of the porch. He's doing a great acting role, as you would expect. He takes out one zombie. He walks all the way out to the one that he ran over with the truck. And he puts the fucking crowbar right through his head. And this part always stuck with me. He looks right up to the sky and says, "God damn you." Looks at the zombie, "God damn all of you." Which is like a subplot, really. I mean, in the sense of like what's going on, like how could God let this happen with all these zombies come back to life or whatever. So to move forward, they're trying to do some shit up there, and they hear people from the basement. They come up, and this is Tommy with his girlfriend Judy Rose, and one of my favorite characters because he's a cunt is Harry, aka Cooper. So they meet up there, and Tony Todd and Cooper have a bit of a conflict about what's going on. Cooper wants to say like we should all hide in the basement, and Tony Todd's main point is like, if we get in the basement, enough of them can break through the door, and we're gonna be backed into a corner. There's no escape. We're better off fighting them off up here. Where Cooper tells him a cold ass line. He's like, "You're gonna die up here. You're gonna die." So these are really cool like elements of like being stir crazy. You know, it's almost like the humans are becoming more of the villains, and they're just trying to like fight off like something like a hurricane or a big storm. You know, the people are the ones who kind of become crazy. Anyways, we're gonna move on, and Tony Todd gets Tommy to grab his girl. They come up, and everybody starts boarding up windows and everything, trying to like stop the zombies. They go upstairs. A pretty cool moment where like Tony Todd sees Tommy's cousin, who actually committed suicide with a shotgun when he knew he was getting killed. So like he tells him, "Hold up 1 minute," throws a sheet over him. Come on. That's like I appreciate like being human in movies, like horror movies, especially like horror, and especially in like zombie movies. Like Tony Todd showed an element of being human. Because honestly, if shit was going crazy, you would just want to survive. But Tony Todd showed a good element here of covering up the body for Tommy, because he knew the mentality of Tommy. They needed to stay together to fight this off. So they go upstairs. One of my favorite scenes. Tony Todd asks, "Oh, are you guys remodeling the place?" And Tommy says, "Oh yeah, it's better than nothing." He punches it. Tony Todd just punches his hand through the door, all cool, like, says, "No good." So they go back downstairs. I think Tony Todd checks on them in the basement, saying they need the old doors they took off because they're remodeling. And him and Cooper get into it a little bit again. Tony Todd looking at I must mention Cooper's character came to this house just like Barb did, but he had his wife with him and his daughter who got bit by a zombie. They came off the expressway, so they're down there. He's trying to like protect his daughter. So at the same time, Cooper, if you guys have seen this movie, if you guys have seen this movie before, Cooper isn't even really in that much of a wrong. Like he wants to just protect his daughter and stay safe. I mean, he's a fucking asshole, don't get me wrong, but anyways, Tony Todd goes down there. He goes to grab these old doors that are in the basement because of the remodel. Him and Cooper get into it. And Tony Todd's looking all concerned about the little girl, like, we'll get her help. He looks at her, and I always remember Cooper looking back, like, because his daughter is laying on like a table, like some lumber, and he's like, "Oh, what, you want this one too?" So like, there's a lot of shifts in balance in this movie. Where like when they finally get in the fight, Tony Todd tells him, "I'm the boss up here." Cooper says, he says, "Cooper, you're the boss down here. I'm the boss up here." But anyways, they get the shit back together. They move back upstairs, Tony Todd that is, with his crew. And at this point, Barbara, who in the remake version is kind of playing like the original version, like the first half. And that was one of my biggest gripes about the original, is that like Barbara was too much of a victim. She needed the fight. And there's a cool scene that I passed over where Tony Todd tells Barbara that she needs to learn how to fight. Take any aggression you have in your mind or in your heart and fight. I need you, girl. And this is the point where like Barbara throws on these combat pants or whatever that had to have been at this Bam Grizzly. I would say hillbilly, but I'll say Bam Grizzly place. But yes, they get fighting. And this is at the point where everything kind of reaches a peak to a moment where like the doors start getting broken down. Everybody's in a panic. Shit's going fucking crazy. And then one door breaks down. This guy looks like a mechanic who's been like the white-haired guy with the full Michael Myers jumpsuit from the start comes in. And Barb just shoots him right in the back of the head with a shotgun when he's on all fours. And it's Tommy's girlfriend. I forgot the name. I said it earlier, I think. But she's screaming at her like, you just killed Mr. So-and-so. You just killed Mr. So-and-so. And she's saying, look at his back. Look at his back. I didn't do that. And I always kind of like that scene, you know, because, like, it's Barb turned into a fucking badass and, like, realizing what's going on. She says, look at his back. I didn't do that. And then another zombie walks in as Tommy and Tony Todd or Ben throw the zombie back out, and the skinny-ass zombie comes in. Barb hits, like, 3 shotgun blasts into the ribs. Is this real? Is he dead? Is he dead? Is he dead? And then Tony Todd tells her, you're losing it, girl. And she just blasts him right in the head, the zombie. And then one of the coolest moments in the movie, she says, am I really losing it? Because whatever I lost a long time ago. Now we can either work together or we can keep screaming at each other like a bunch of 2-year-olds. And everybody just has that moment, because this is at the point where everybody's kind of losing their shit. Cold ass moment. I mean, I'm already rambling too much about this movie, but I just love it too much, so fuck y'all. Watch it. Anyways, it gets to a point through this craziness that Cooper goes upstairs and he finds the TV, the black and white TV, which I'm actually curious, what time is this movie supposed to be set in? Because they're dressed a little old school. It's black and white TV. I never really knew, like, is this supposed to be in the same time frame as the original? Anyways, leave that in the comments if you know. But Cooper watches a newscast where, like, his mind is blown when the news producer has to throw on his glasses and say, like, word from blah, 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 these are dead bodies come to life. And then he quickly says, but the other scientific research says they discard all these comments. It's not living dead. Cooper's like, all right, yeah, I get it. Because Cooper's in denial. Cooper's the prick of the movie, the antagonist. In a way, more than the zombies, really. But he's the one that doesn't believe that the dead are walking. So he picks up this TV. He starts carrying it down TV. He starts carrying the TV down TV. No, he carries it down the stairs. Anyways, one of my favorite moments in the movie, Tony Todd cuts him off and like goes to grab the TV. Where the fuck are you going with that TV? And then they throw it down the stairs, like, as they fight. Like, they're arguing over the TV, and it falls all the way down the basement steps, right? And then Tony Todd and Cooper start fighting, and they're like, I love that they're, like, bouncing off the piano. That's so cool. But then, like, Tony Todd Ben gets the advantage. He pins Cooper down, and me and my sister, we grew up watching horror movies. This is one of our favorites. And we always both loved and remembered the part where Cooper was like, I wasn't taking the TV downstairs. You can't get any reception in the basement, dickhead. It's one of the funniest moments in the movie. But anyways, we move on to the point where, like, they're trying to get the gas pump key. Because Uncle Reed, who was one of the zombies killed originally, has a gas pump outside this barn house. And but he has a key, so Tommy's hunting for it. They're all hunting for the key. They get the right key. They come up with a plan. So we got Tommy and his girl and Ben are going to go fill Ben's truck up with gas, and they're going to make their escape. Barb reluctantly takes the shotgun that Ben gives her and says, I'd rather have you guys have the gun than me, because Tommy's got a shotgun too. So Ben lights up a fucking torch, and they go at it. He's chasing off these zombies. He's fighting them. He's kicking their asses. He goes to jump in the back of this pickup truck, but Tommy's girlfriend takes a sharp turn. He falls out. They get to the gas pump. He says, "Oh, you forgot Ben. Why the fuck didn't you tell me? I've been hollering at you the whole time." He goes to put the keys in to get the gas. He says, "It's the wrong fucking keys. It's the wrong damn keys." So, out of frustration, Tommy shoots his shotgun right at the lock. With gasoline there, plus the torch in the back of the truck that Ben left. The whole truck fucking blows up, leaving Ben to fucking turn around and fight his whole way back. And in the meantime, Cooper's wife has went down to check on the kid who's been bit by a zombie in the basement. If I didn't mention that already, I'm just ranting because I like movies. But he tells Barb, "I need that gun. I need that gun." She's telling him, "Fuck off, Cooper." He grabs the gun like a fucking dick. He just starts firing off rounds like straight through the plywood and everything they've been boarding up this whole time. Fucking everything up. But anyways, Ben gets back, asks him to get back in, and by the time he gets back in, Cooper's daughter, who has already killed the mother, who is turned into a zombie, clearly, comes out, and Cooper looks right at Cooper, like his kid is gonna bite him as a zombie. But then Ben looks at him, "Kill it, Cooper. Kill it, Cooper," he says. And that makes the zombie look at him. The zombie keeps coming closer and closer to Ben. "Kill it, Cooper." But, I mean, honestly, to feel for Cooper a little bit, you could understand not wanting to, like, kill your own child, I would imagine. So, right when the zombie gets so close to Ben, he cocks back his gun, and Cooper yells no and just shoots Ben. And then Ben shoots Cooper, back and forth. They're just shooting the fuck out of each other like an old Western shootout. And I feel like a lot of people who like zombie movies always like hate on like human versus human. But that would probably become like the biggest thing in terms of like the apocalypse. Because zombies aside, the world is over. And humans are more evil than anything. So, I mean, it makes sense to me. Anyways, they shoot the fuck out of each other. Cooper jumps up into the attic. Ben backs his way into the basement they never want to go into. But he's literally being surrounded by zombies. And in this time, Barb takes a gun from one of the dead zombie cops or whatever, I think, and just her original plan, saying, "Oh, they're so slow." She tries to just walk past all these zombies, cut past them and everything, which she's doing a good job at. And yeah, she ends up getting in contact with some humans again, a bunch of hillbillies and shit, and they're the ones like hunting these zombies. So like she made it to the safe zone after like walking past all these zombies. Keep in mind, she like the emotion that Barb plays in this movie is unbelievable compared to the original. She originally in the original version was like a coward, but this one she is a coward that turns into a badass, and she was right after all. Cooper wanted them to go into the basement. Tony Todd wanted them to stay up in the house and barricade it for a way out and be safe. And this whole time, Barb was like, "They're so slow, we can get out of here." And she was right. So anyway, she meets up with these vigilantes who are all killing the zombies. They come back the next day. And when she enters the house, they're cutting a chainsaw through like the boards that had the basement door locked. Which, to backtrack a little bit, when Tony Todd finally gets into the basement, one of my very favorite parts is like he turns on the radio, he lights a cigarette, his arm is in a sling because he got shot, and he looks right. The radio says, "Oh, the attackers are the living dead. They're back to life," and he just laughs because he's lost his mind at this point. You goddamn right. Then he looks up and he sees right on the rack where Cooper's been in the basement the whole time. It says gas pump right on the label of the key hung on the rack. He drops the cigarette out of his mouth and just laughs his ass off out of pure insanity. And it fades to black, which is one of the most powerful scenes in the whole movie. And to all the Candyman fans out here, I suggest watching this one because Tony Todd is just as good, if not better, in this one. Anyways, I knew I would talk about 20 minutes about this one because it's one of my favorites. But anyways, so Barb gets with these guys, these vigilantes. She passes out. It cuts to the morning where they're back at the house. They got all these zombies hung up on trees, hanging while they shoot them. They got all these zombies in like boxing rings, fighting each other. And then, and all these food concession stands and news reporters, all this shit. It's like a big event. She goes in there, and like I said, they're cutting down the basement door. And Tony Todd comes out, and his eyes are all white. He's become a zombie. One of the dudes shoots him, kills him. It fucks up Barb, because why not? And then, as she goes to leave, fucking Cooper just hops out of the attic. Which I hate to say it, but this is kind of a fun part of the movie that, like, Cooper wasn't wrong. Cooper wasn't wrong. He was an asshole. He was an antagonist, but he wasn't wrong. He hops down, and in, like, a compassionate kind of way, he looks at Barb and says, "You came back. You came back." One of the coolest scenes in the movie, she looks right at him. The camera zooms into the gun, and then zooms into her face. Pow. Kills Cooper right there. And when the hillbillies walk past her, she says, "Here's another one for the fire." Fucking dope. But anyways, to end this movie, this is pretty much where it ends. She walks out, Barb, and she sees all this crazy shit going on. And the best way to end this movie that always stuck with me is she's kind of standing there looking at like how they're hanging these zombies while shooting them and all this shit just for gain, for fun, and she says, "They're us. They're us and we are them." And one of the hillbillies kind of dismisses it, and then it hits credits. But it's a pretty good message for the movie. They're us, we're them. Because look, at the end, they actually became, the zombies actually became the victims. But I don't know. This movie's really amazing. I really suggest anybody to watch this, the 1990 version. You won't be disappointed. Barb is unbelievable. Tony Todd is Tony Todd. If you like horror, please check this one out. Let me know what you think in the subscriptions. Please like, comment, subscribe. And yeah, blood, guts, gore. And on last note, if any of you guys ever are feeling down, I just want to let you guys know you're more important than you think. Keep pushing. Because the ones that push a limit are the ones that are remembered. None of us should fade away. Keep pushing. Get what you want. Do your thing. Love you guys.